All right, so here we go. As promised, I had said that we would do a LinkedIn profile workshop for those of you who need to think about sprucing up that profile for 2026 to optimize it. As you know, there are two types of search engine optimization. There is the search engine optimization that is for your website, things that you do with your blog, uh, and to optimize being found. So a lot of companies have blogs on their sites, and that is definitely an SEO strategy. There is now a push to optimize for AI, right? Because so many people are not searching the traditional routes. They are going on to perhaps their favorite AI tool. So just drop into the chat. What is your go-to AI tool? Your go-to AI tool. So I know some of you have told me what you're doing to wake yourself up this morning, whether it's hydrating with some water, some tea, some coffee, some chai. I now want to hear, what are you using when you need to get an answer for something? So we've got Gemini, which is one of my favorite go-to tools, ChatGPT, yeah, another Gemini. And yeah, so different AI tools for different tasks that you have. Oh yes, Claude. Anyone using Claude for uh, coding? So there's now a tool that I actually am planning to check out called Claude Cowork, and it can help you to build websites, like, revamp your website, which I really feel my website needs some tender loving care. So I'm thinking about revamping it using Claude Cowork. I also use Perplexity as well. I use it I have a pro license. If anybody has an RBC bank account and you happen to have a Avion card, they have uh, Perplexity Pro at no cost. I think Bell Mobility, I hear through the grapevine, also has Perplexity Pro at no cost for 1 year. When I first had LinkedIn Premium, they also had a Perplexity deal where when you upgraded to have LinkedIn a paid account, you also got Perplexity Pro. So they're big into partnerships. I guess they're trying to increase their accounts by offering some good incentives. What I love about Perplexity Pro is that it pairs so beautifully with the Comet browser, which is the AI browser that is used with Perplexity. So it has a really great assistant that can help you with different things. And I do some LinkedIn profile optimization for my clients on the side. And one of the things that we do is we open up Comet, and it works, as I said, with Perplexity Pro. And you can have that assistant open on the right side of your screen. And then on the left side, you can have your LinkedIn profile open, and you can go into like a assistant agent mode, and with some good prompts you can optimize your LinkedIn profile. So I do have a whole prompt script to help you maximize your LinkedIn profile. So any of you who's interested in that script, I'd be happy to share it with you. So I will pop the link to that in the chat a little later. But for now, let's talk about what's going on in the LinkedIn land for 2026. So why do we care about LinkedIn? So just first off, let's pop our LinkedIn profiles in the chat if you feel so comfortable to do that. But I think that could be a nice way to just to sort of kick this little workshop off, is to connect with others on LinkedIn if you haven't already. So for those of you who are following along and hopefully paying attention, there will be a quiz, so don't try to bamboozle me. I may just do a quick audit here and there just to make sure that you're fully present. So I do hope that you're coming to this workshop authentically and not just in another room while you have the screen up. So let's start by popping in our LinkedIn address into the chat. So that will be my first giveaway that you're here with me. So thank you. We've got our first one. All right. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So, Roshani, I see that you have some numbers at the end of your profile address. I'm going to help you clean that up today. So, so I'm going to start by doing the workshop, like sharing some slides, and then I'm going to actually head on over to LinkedIn and show you some of the features that you should most be paying attention to. And that string of numbers at the end of your address, don't worry, totally understandable that you have those. I had those at one point too, but there is a simple way that we can get those suckers out of there. And we are going to show you how to do that today. All right, so we should have more LinkedIn addresses popping in, but I'm going to keep going. So just a couple of best practices. So you want to make sure that you have a headshot on your profile. When I say a professional photo, I just mean, not one that you've cropped your best friend out of and you kind of see part of her cheek on the side of your headshot. So certainly not that type of headshot. But it doesn't have to be like by a fancy photographer that's charging you lots of money. Although, if you do want to do a photo shoot, now's the time, because you are about to, embark on your professional journey. I like to have a full suite of photos that I used for my personal brand. And that's really what this is all about, is that we are building our professional brand to get known, right? What is it that you want to be known for? So let's just pop that into the chat. What do you want to be known for? For me, after some, look at my goals, my passions, the lifestyle that I want to have, I really am focused on teaching and supporting entrepreneurs. I would say that's like my sweet spot. I do a lot of mentoring for people that are starting businesses. I think anybody who is wanting to be employed, wanting to eventually climb that corporate ladder, has to think about their personal brand presence. And so that's something that you should be cultivating from day one. And the reason why is because each one of you are going to probably embark on lots of different careers, lots of different transitions. You're going to be in and out of work at different times. But the one thing that is going to be consistent is you showing up every day, day in, day out. And it may be that you're going to develop a little side hustle to stay relevant, to make some money, to get practice and experience in whatever industry or profession you're looking to grow in. So that is definitely one reason why you might be considering developing your personal brand. But another reason why you might be developing your personal brand is because you can't get anyone to hire you, even to give you a volunteer opportunity. How challenging is that? I think we've all been there when we know what we want, but we just can't we can't find someone to give us a chance. So, developing your side hustle is the perfect way to start to get yourself associated with, what it is that you want to be known for. What is your area of expertise? And so that might start with just, focusing on sharing some advice. Even if you set a goal like once a week, I'm going to share, a small snippet of what I know, what I'm learning on my favorite social platform. And I would suggest that that favorite social platform for the time being should be investing in LinkedIn. Yes, you are probably on other platforms and they're fantastic. And of course, in this course, you're going to be exploring all of them. But I would hedge my bets to say that the one that you need to invest in the most is LinkedIn. And in 2026, LinkedIn's algorithm has gone under some major changes. Views dropped by 50%, engagement fell by 25%. But anyone with an optimized profile is seeing growth. They're seeing 3 times the rate of acceptance to their LinkedIn invites. They are getting more recruiting messages, and they're seeing a better ROI on perhaps job opportunities directly obtained, or interviews at least, through LinkedIn. So this isn't a platform to ignore, my friends. We need to be here. So what are exactly the algorithm shifts? So we all know that algorithm is, basically the platform, your choosing platform, how often they're allowing you to show up and how often they are ghosting you, so to speak. So comments are important. So if you recall when we chatted last week and some of you were saying, how do I even approach this leadership interview that I'm taking part in? Like, what do I do there? How do I get someone to take me serious and want to allow me to interview them? Well, I would say the very first thing that I would do is I would start to create a strategy to get people interested in starting a conversation with me. And how do you do that? Well, the first thing that you do is make sure you have that profile headshot of yourself that's professional. And it can be, with our phones, it can be a selfie, on portrait mode. It could be a friend taking a photo of you, maybe 30 photos of you and you choosing the one that you like best. But one thing to keep in mind is that your head on, your face is looking directly at the camera. It's not too far off, meaning that it's not like so zoned out that it's really hard to see you. Because people are trying to identify who you are, especially if you've attended an event and they want to confirm when you send them a message that, yes, indeed, you are the person that was at that event. So this isn't the time to put a photo of yourself that you look super hot, 20 years ago. This is the time to have a headshot that is relatively recent. Okay. So if your hair color's changed or you have a massive different haircut, um, you want to make sure that the look that you currently are mastering, that look is fully present on your LinkedIn profile so that people can identify who you are. All right. So that's step number one, is make sure you have a headshot that matches what you look like today. As I've pointed out, the algorithms on LinkedIn can be a bit tricky. Those that are spending some time following people that they want to make a relationship with and then commenting on their posts, that's a great first step, right? So if you have a creator LinkedIn profile, so there's different types of profiles. There's the profile that is just the basic one, and that would be, your standard LinkedIn profile, probably the LinkedIn profile that if you barely used it is probably what you might have. But if you're savvy and you know that you're going to ramp up your LinkedIn presence, then you are going to want to switch to a creator account. Can anybody tell me what the advantage of a creator account is? Does anyone even know what a LinkedIn creator account is? Here's a hint. There's a major difference in how you can connect with other people when you have a creator account. Does anybody know what it is? This is a little LinkedIn quiz right now. So what is the difference between a regular LinkedIn account and a creator account? I'll give you a hint. If you go to my LinkedIn profile, so if you want to just, if you're already connected to me, great. Or if you want to just go and do a quick search, you obviously know my name is Leigh Mitchell. And if we're not connected, you're going to see something that is very specific to a creator account. Can anybody tell me what that is? So when you go and you find someone that you haven't connected with and they have a creator account, what shows up on that person's profile page? What does the button look like to connect with that person? Yes, thank you, Aram. You got it. It says follow. So the difference between a creator account and a regular account is the creator account will say follow, and it's meant to build an audience. It gives you additional features such as being able to create a newsletter. It gives you additional features, and LinkedIn likes people that have that creator account. What are the benefits to you as the user? Well, someone doesn't have to be connected to you in order to see your content. So it is essentially public, right? So your account is public, and just like on Instagram, I can, if you have a creator account, I can follow you without actually connecting to you. But that being said, I definitely want you to not only follow someone, but once you've started commenting on their posts and creating a rapport with them, you're going to want to click on connect, right? So there's follow. And as soon as you try to connect with someone, it will automatically say that you're following them until they connect with you. Once they connect with you, let's hope they do, then you are going to get access to their information in a more meaningful way. You're going to be able to search for them on, through a LinkedIn CRM, so you're going to be able to use the search functions. For example, I want to do a search for everybody who belongs to or who's currently at school at York School of Continuing Studies. I can pull a list of all of those people, and it's easier to then send them a message if I am connected to them versus follow, right? That's the difference. When you're following someone, you don't have the ability to interact with them at the same extent that, you can send private messages to someone who you are connected with. So when you're looking to build that strategy, you don't want to just follow someone, you want to follow and connect with them. And I'll do a little demo at the end showing you exactly how to do that. All right. So algorithm. So we know that comments are a powerful way and meaningful comments. So it's not just like, cool, someone posts something and you write one word. It has to be something a little more meaningful than just a 1 or 3, 4 word answer. You want it to be engaging. So LinkedIn is going to benefit those that are spending time meaningfully connecting and keeping people, quite frankly, they want people to stay on the LinkedIn platform. They don't want you bumping off to other platforms. So the more you're keeping people interacting with you, the better it is for your profile optimization. So saves are something that are prioritized. So this is where we as digital marketers need to think about what type of content are we sending people? Are we doing, the typical humble brag, like, oh, I got this new certificate, or whatever sort of professional, I did this type of content that you're putting out there. That stuff's not so much that valuable. What you really want to be focusing on is content that you're teaching people something, so much so that they save that post so that it's there for them to reference. And I'm going to tell you that one of the people that I follow and sometimes save his content is a gentleman by the name of Matthew Hunt. So I'm going to pop his LinkedIn profile, or at least his name. I'm not going to switch over to grabbing the addresses right now so that I can just keep my screen as is up on the side on your presentation. So again, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to do a new share, and I'm going to share the actual LinkedIn screen. But for now, I just want to sort of stick to the main things that we're going to learn about. So feel free to take notes. And then we will switch over to actually showing you how to do some of this stuff on the channel itself. So Matthew Hunt, he is a LinkedIn expert, and his company is all about basically he helps founders and leaders to maximize and run their LinkedIn profile. So he has various packages, and essentially he is a social media creator. He has an agency. He has a team of people who their job is to interview their leader that is their client and every month create all this content that hopefully is so good and so useful that those pieces of content are saved by people that are consuming them. And so that is a way in which that content is loved by the algorithm. Okay. So saving content and shares is prioritized over likes, right? So it used to be, oh, how many likes does my content have? Not as important. What's important is how many people are saving your content. Anyone who I find is serving me up delicious content, I actually head over to their profile, and at the top of their profile, there's a little bell. I click on that bell and it says, how much content should I show? Or sorry, how much content of this person do you want to see? And it will say none, most relevant, and everything. So Matthew Hunt is the type of person that I save everything, right? Because he saves he shares all kinds of content that helps me with my LinkedIn game. He's sharing changes. Another person who is really great at LinkedIn is, oh gosh, I'm forgetting her last name. I'm having a brain fart for a second here, just a second. She is a LinkedIn profile writer, but she's also Leslie Hughes. So I'm going to pop her name in the chat. So Leslie is great because she's always sharing like what's changing on the platform. So Leslie shares a lot of information that she gets. She's a LinkedIn top voice, meaning that, LinkedIn has said, like, here's someone to follow because she is serving content that people feel is follow worthy. And so Leslie is someone who I have hit the bell and chosen share it, show me everything that this person is talking about, is posting. Okay, so that's a few little tips there. And native content is more prioritized over external link sharing. So if you are choosing between posting a link from your blog versus, taking that blog content and sharing, the best part of it, which is in AI land, the answers to the questions. So AI prioritizes knowledge and thought leadership, okay? And it even further prioritizes knowledge and thought leadership where the answer is way up at the beginning of the post, because AI doesn't want to guess as to what is delicious about this content, right? So how you should be prioritizing writing your content is answer first. So question, right? So that tidbit, that interesting little like hook that gets someone to open your article. And then next is tell me what is important to know, right? So share the answers at the top of the post and then build your evidence as you scroll down. Okay, so answer first is really important in optimizing on AI, and so you should be doing the same thing in your LinkedIn. Is prioritizing content, not links, content that you build and you share, where the answer is, you got a hook and then you have the answer to your problem. Okay, so that receives priority. Content quality requirements. So 10 plus word comments generate more impact. 20 plus word comments provide 2.5 more engagement. Meaningful conversations over surface level interactions are prioritized. And consistent niche expertise is better than broad generic content. So can anybody tell me what that means? Consistent niche experience is rewarded over broad generic content. So in marketing, what would be considered a niche? Right? Because marketing is everything. What would be a niche within marketing? So I'm looking for an answer in the chat, or you can also unmute yourself and share your advice. So what is a niche? And can someone give me an example of a niche within the field of marketing? Okay, I'm not being pushy about turning on the camera, but I am going to be pushy that if I think that you're snoozing through this class, then there will be no participation marks today. All right. Okay. So let's say content marketing is focusing on one kind of marketing. Absolutely. What else could it mean? What else could niche marketing mean? Think demographics, psychographics. So what is a niche? So Meta put a good example. They said that focusing on one kind of marketing. So absolutely, that is a niche. So perhaps it's growth marketing, focusing on luxury brands. Thank you. Taking a demographic that hasn't been touched yet. Absolutely. Serving a problem. Okay. Still a little generic. Specific needs. Yeah. Okay. I think you're on the right path. But here's an example, right? So I just went through this whole exercise myself. So I wanted to focus on working with change makers, right? So a change maker, I define as someone who is, motivated to work in professional market that focuses not just on making profit, but impact and, is looking to give back, is focusing on the greater good in their work, right? So that's something that's really important to me. That's the type of person that I want to work with. I'm not looking to work with the Donald Trumps of the world, but that's still fairly generic. So after some deep introspection and look at the brands that I've built and the different areas that I focused on, I'm going back to my OG roots. And that is, I am going back to working specifically with my paid work, the association that I built years ago, which was Women in Business. Okay. But not only women in business that are 40 plus. And I have deemed the term encore entrepreneur. So someone that is, probably had several different careers, maybe several different types of businesses. And now they're, in the second half of their career, and they really want to focus on their legacy, their impact. And the reason why I've chosen this area is because there's a lot of support for young and upcoming entrepreneurs. There's lots of grants through the government for people that are, in their um, 20s, even into their 30s. In fact, a company that I've done work with in the past called Futurepreneur is geared towards supporting people that are 39 and under. Okay. I am going to niche into working with females who are 40 plus, because every niche has a specific need. And if I'm trying to talk to everybody, I'm talking to nobody. Even if I thought that I was niching in on ChangeMaker leaders, it's still not specific enough, especially for the LinkedIn algorithm. So the more concentrated you can get towards, thank you, by the way, Lena, for that catchy, for saying that the Encore Entrepreneur is a catchy title. Yeah, I admit that, the title was found in doing research on AI, right? So, I want to make it clear that I don't expect that you're not going to be on AI. I want you to embrace it. I just want you to use it like you are a artist, not like you're photocopying something. Okay. So just remember that. Don't use AI to photocopy, use AI to create and to manipulate and to test, right? That's the important part. So niche content is rewarded over generic content. That's the takeaway there for you. All right. So, professional photo, high image resolution with clear professional lighting and neutral background. Again, you do not need to hire a photographer. You just need to have a good camera or a good cell phone, a smartphone that has, the ability to take great photos. A genuine smile. I mean, if that's on brand for you, if your brand is all about being contrary and, a bit edgy, then perhaps maybe you don't want to have a full smile. As long as your photo authentically represents the brand that you're trying to communicate, it's good. Okay. But a genuine smile communicates trust, approachability, and confidence. So you decide what's best for you. But it's important to think about how you come across, right? So you may want to sort of say to someone, do I look approachable in my profile photo? Because that's important. Professional attire, appropriate for your industry and your target audience. And direct eye contact with the camera to establish connection with your viewers. The next piece is your banner. So that's that you got your headshot on the left, and then you have the banner over top. So this is where you can have some fun with your design. You can go into Canva or whatever tool that you're able to give specific dimensions, and you are going to design. And by the way, it tells you when you hit the little pencil, it will tell you what the dimensions are, and then you can build out that dimensions. And you could actually even, use some of the tools on AI, available on AI, to make up some mock-ups. As long as you sort of say the sizing, you could play around with that in different AI tools, including Canva, right? There's lots of AI tools in Canva that you can play with. It has design tips, right? So you can hit, and if we have time, I'll take you over to Canva and I'll show you some of the AI tools that you might find useful. One of them is when you're inside a design, you can ask it to give you design tips, and it won't actually it can do some design actual like do the design for you, but it will also look at your design and tell you what you've done wrong and give you written instructions, and you can use that feature as well. So your banner should focus on showcasing results key accomplishments. And it should be mobile optimized to ensure that the text remains readable. What I always do whenever I fiddle with my profile, and I admit it's a lot, is I will make sure that it shows up properly on my phone, which is really important, right? Are the words in your banner being cut off by that huge headshot? It can be a little bit frustrating. So you're going to want to make sure that that you're doing something that allows you to uh, use a tool that allows you to make sure that everything is lined up properly so that your headshot isn't messing up the banner text. So for the most part, you want to make sure that the text is not in that general zone over top of the headshot, because that tends to mess up the writing, and like that's where things get cut off. So what I would suggest is keep your text as much as you can fairly high on your banner, or at least pretty further over to the right side versus the left side. What are some AI tools that create designs? I'm not familiar with those. Okay, so all of the tools that are out there do have the ability to create graphics, right? So each platform has a graphics tool that you can use. So Gemini has Nano Banana. I think X has Rock that you have to pay for. I don't know the names of all of them, but every tool has the imaging tools. The paid accounts tend to give you more features and more opportunities to change the artwork, but it's not an exact science. And I found it, and I know that like other people that I've talked to find it can be really frustrating when you're creating a graphic in AI. You'll get it to just the way you like it, and then you'll ask it to tweak something, and then it changes other things that you didn't ask it to change. And no matter what you do, it won't seem to correct that. And so it can be really, really frustrating. So please don't rely on the AI graphic making tools alone, and also use them respectfully. And when I say this, I mean, first off, right? There are unethical things that you can do with the image making software out there. I won't get into all the different ways that you could do things that are ethically irresponsible, bordering on illegal, and or wholly outright illegal. There has been so Grok, which is the tool by X. Elon Musk was actually joking about how funny he thinks that all these deep fake imageries of like pornographic, like basically pornographic type material that's being generated on it. And I think eventually he had to, you know, be able to correct some of what is being correct what's going on out there, right? People are going crazy on that platform and doing things that are, pretty much illegal. And at first he thought it was funny, and now he probably still thinks it's funny, but he's under pressure to clean up the graphic making um, features that are leading to people's images being made for pornographic materials, right? So essentially what I mean is, you say, make a video or a photo of XYZ star without their clothes on, and then who's to say what's real and what's not, right? And so it's this is where that type of ethical situation is downright wrong, irresponsible, disgusting, all the things. But it could also be like, if last year, or maybe it was 2 years ago, everyone was doing Lego, these Lego boxes of what they look like as a Lego character. Well, that's cute, but here's the thing. Every time you create these images, that is taking up massive amounts of power, which has an environmental impact on energy and water consumption. So be responsible about the types of imagery that you're creating, and realize that the choices you make have environmental impacts, as well as ethical impacts. All right, so we want to make sure that profiles with professional photos, that they're set up as indicated here. Profiles with these types of photos get 14 times more profile views than those without. Update your banner every 6 months to reflect your current goals and achievements. So those are just some best practices. Okay, next, crafting your winning headline. So here is a formula. Your role, your expertise, and your value, right? So this is like a template that you can use. So what you do, who you help, and how you help to transform those that you serve. Okay. So SEO consulting, helping brands rank faster with AI insights. So that's an example. Another type is role achievement impact, marketing director, 300% ROI growth, B2B SaaS expert. Formula 2, micro story plus value, turning underperforming teams into revenue generators. So that's a problem-solving approach. Transformation focus, from startup chaos to scalable systems, operations expert. So that's another way of approaching it. Your headline is LinkedIn's #1 ranking factor. So include 2 to 3 natural keywords that you use, and update them every 3 to 6 months to stay current with algorithm changes. So that's another tip. All right. Next is writing a compelling about section. So that's that section underneath your at a glance headline and your banner. Okay. So this is the stuff that you fill in, and you can use AI prompts as well as your resume to help you fill this section out. Okay, so what are the elements? So first off, what problem did you see? So something that was broken. What was your unique process or approach to solve that problem? And what is the transformation, the proof of your impact? Okay, so that's one way to approach writing your about section, right? And think about think about what your personal brand is all about here. Next is writing. So short paragraphs, 2 to 3 sentences for maximum readability per paragraph. Think about bullet points, make it scannable, maybe subtitles. Quantify results, include specific numbers and achievements. Create a professional but relatable writing that is authentic. Make sure that if you are generating this with the help of AI, that you go in and you refine it, make it your own, take out all those M dashes, take out typical AI mush. Make sure that it doesn't hallucinate and put things about you that just simply aren't true. Okay, so you really thought you're not photocopying, you are mastering and editing and creating your own uniquely you story. SEO keywords, integrate naturally 3 to 5 industry terms as part of your profile. So make sure that you have a call to action formula. So you want to have a human invitation, human soft invitation. So for example, if you want strategies that actually work, feel free to reach out rather than pushy sales language. So the SPST framework is Spark. S is the S, Spark. P is problem. Shift. So SPS, shift, and then T, transformation. So this is a formula that aligns with the 2026 algorithm preference for authentic storytelling over generic mush, as I like to say. I think it's like your oatmeal that, has anyone had oatmeal before? And if you let it sit for more than a couple of minutes, it turns into slop and it's gross and it's like gelatinous and it's cold and it makes you sort of like you might almost dry heave on it because it's so gross. Well, think about that as your approach, right? You want to make sure that you're not serving up that stuff that you're going to choke on. Achievement focus. So you want to quantify your impact, right? Same thing with your resume. Specific numbers, percentages, measurable results. For example, increase sales by 45% in Q3 2025, generating $2.3 million in additional revenue. You could do before and after scenarios. So showing transformation and improvement. Reduce customer churn from 15 to 8% over retention strategies. Formatting best practices, use bullet points for scanning and readability, subtitles, industry keywords, naturally integrated, right? So that it seems like, make sure that it reads naturally, right? Make sure that you aren't just copying and pasting AI because the algorithm does not want that. It can sense what is AI and what is being edited enough that it's real. Okay. Add things to your profile, like presentations, articles, to showcase your quality of your work. You can use the CAR method, challenge, action, result, to structure each role description. So now we're getting into your experience section. So for each section, each position that you have, you can add some actual work. You can upload work and showcase that. So for your skills section, you want to think about the top 5 core skills that define your expertise and match job descriptions in your field. Okay, we've got a couple of questions that have come in. This is great. I know you're paying attention, Lena. Awesome. Okay, so is there an industry? if there is an industry we'd like to break into, where could we put the info? Okay, good question. So that you would put in your the section directly underneath your headline. So there's the about section, right? So that's the section, and I'm going to go and show this to you very shortly. Where you would put where you want to go. You can also put it in your headline as well. And how you can sort of position it is show your transferable skills that make you qualified for that. And I'll give you an example. So one of the students came to me and he said, I've got a background in finance and accounting, but I really want to break into marketing. What's your advice for me? And I said, well, I would suggest that you think about niching, at least in the beginning, with companies that would see your background in finance and accounting as a direct advantage to your employment, right? So, if let's say you were I don't know, a medical, you were in some form of, I don't know, you worked for a dentist and you know all about dentistry and how dentist offices run. Well, then maybe you want to get into medical marketing, right? Perhaps you were in, I don't know, pharmaceutical sales, but now you want to do pharmaceutical marketing, right? These are some transferable areas where your direct experience or education can help you to transition into this new industry. Okay. So think about what you've done and what is transferable. What would be useful in your experience for this new area that you want to niche in? Look at trending skills in your industry that are currently in demand. Okay. So there's lots of reports, especially this time of year, that tell you what are the top skills that you need, right? Obviously, AI literacy skills, but not just literacy skills. Do you actually have examples or case studies of how you have taken your AI literacy skills and, I don't know, made an app for the company that you work for that has saved money and increased sales because people are more likely to use their smartphone than an out-of-date website. And so, you've used Claude Cowork or, there's other tools out there that allow you to do low code app building, right? And so there's different things out there. So show your literacy, but then give examples and case studies of how you've actually implemented using that tool. Have a mix of soft and hard skills. So can anyone tell me what a hard skill is versus a soft skill? What's a soft skill? Can someone give me an example of a soft skill? Put it into the chat or turn on your audio. Active listening, absolutely. So yes, active listening is a soft skill.
Being able to public speaking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Communicating effectively. Yeah. These are all examples of soft skills. A hard skill or a technical skill could be, video editing. That could be a more of a technical or a hard skill. You want to be able to show how certain skills are improving your leadership abilities, right? So, maybe you have a quantifiable example of teamwork or collaboration and empathy, all of these great things that are popping up into the chat. They could demonstrate both competence and leadership ability, right? So those are Those are sweet sauce skills. So add 25 to 40 relevant skills and prioritize the top 3 that best represent your expertise and make sure that those are at the top of the list. Okay. Endorsements. So I've been working on a new approach. One thing that I don't love about LinkedIn is that with a non-paid account, your endorsements, your testimonials, they are at the bottom of your profile. Why? I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the greatest design thinking approach to the software, but whatever. They're at the bottom. I use, I now have a paid account. So the paid account, if you have a business account for LinkedIn or you have a Sales Navigator account, it gives you that ability to create a company profile at the top of your LinkedIn that specifically allows you to collect testimonials ranking. So this one's different than the traditional format where someone just writes, you know, someone's, Leigh was instrumental in my redeveloping my LinkedIn profile, which led to, 10 new job offers, right? That could be a testimonial that's associated with my LinkedIn profile, and I don't pay for that, meaning that I don't have to pay LinkedIn extra money to get that testimonial feature. But if I have Sales Navigator or a business account with LinkedIn, then I get this feature that allows me to have my services at the top of my LinkedIn profile and the option to ask people to leave a ranking of my services. So it's like a 1 to 5 ranking and a written testimonial. Okay. So I've been using that. I've been really focused on building that out because I am a consultant. You could have the same thing set up if you want to invest in a business account, LinkedIn business account, or Sales Navigator for whatever reason. Sales Navigator is the most expensive. The business account is a little less expensive. And I'll show you the breakdown of how much each of the paid LinkedIn accounts cost. But we'll get to that later. All right, so endorsements really help. Strategic reciprocity in endorsing your colleagues' skills to encourage them to endorse you back, right? Think about quality over quantity when seeking endorsements, and make sure you do regular maintenance by reviewing and managing them so that only the relevant ones are visible. So, what that means is that say you've had like a complete switch in what you do and the testimonial is confusing because it's so off brand for what you currently do, then you can actually unpublish it and not have it show up if you think it's going to cause confusion, right? Because AI is trying to understand what your profile is all about. And if it's all disjointed, then it's going to cause some challenges for it to present your profile to the right type of people. So focus on your top skills by asking connections to endorse you on your 3 to 5 most important professional competencies. So I have a lot of testimonials on event planning and social media and digital marketing, right? So think about what type of testimonial you want and then make sure that you're requesting it based off of your top 5 professional competencies. Okay, the content optimization. So longer engagement boosts reach, right? So that's why carousel posts, right, where you have to click and then it forwards, those carousel posts can be really good for engagement because someone has got to click through and read what your carousel is. So the carousel is on LinkedIn, a carousel is content that you upload as a PDF, and each page has the little arrow that you can scroll through. So you could add presentations, right? So you could PDF a presentation and then upload it as a social media document and it will become a carousel. Saves and likes. So if you can encourage people to save content that you've created, the algorithm likes that. And then the quality of the comments, right? So you want people to comment um, in a meaningful way if possible, right? So encourage comments. If you're creating a strategy where you and five of your closest colleagues are going to comment on each other's content, make sure that they're doing it to benefit the algorithm. So not a comment that's a couple of words. You want a comment that's a couple of sentences if possible. Um, as I mentioned before, you want native content, so not linked posts. So you can do that too, but as much as possible, most of your content should be keep them on the platform first. Visual storytelling, so infographics and carousels, and interactive posts such as polls and questions. Um, these are features in the as a creator that you get access to, and so we'll go over that. How often should you post? 2 to 3 times per week within your niche. Comments are 8 times more powerful than likes, so focus on meaningful conversations over vanity metrics. And when possible, prioritize native content over external links. Your communication strategy. So personalized connection requests, mentioning mutual connections and shared interests, strategic targeting of people that you want to connect with, potential clients, professionals in your industry. Follow-up. Follow up within 48 hours of connecting with a thoughtful message or a valuable resource. Just make sure that it doesn't seem uh, spammy, right? Like going back to the person that I mentioned last week, she's an HR consultant, and she just started sending me all of these articles and advice on managing a team of people. Well, right now I don't have a team of people, at least not in a traditional sense that I pay and have on my payroll. So this content she's sending me seems tone deaf because she hasn't taken the time to ask me first what I do. So I would say the best thing you could do first is don't assume, because we all know that assuming makes an ass out of yourself, right? So don't assume that you know what a person does. Clarify. You might have a hunch, but maybe you're wrong. So before you start sending content to them, find out what they do and what type of information would actually be helpful to them. Okay. Again, quality over quantity when focusing on your connections with people rather than gathering a large number of contacts. Aim for 10 to 15 quality connections per week rather than a mass outreach of people, right? And also, by the way, you only have so many connections that you can request within a week, and you don't want to go over that. So meaningful comments, 10 plus words, add value and show genuine interest. Strategic sharing of others' contents with your own insights. So sharing someone who you want to create a relationship with, sharing their post, right? So retweet, reposting it with comment in, right? So there's two types of reposting. There's just straight repost, which means that it just reposts your post, and then, or the other person's post. And then there is repost with comment. So if you're trying to build a connection with someone, repost what they shared, and then write a message why you find this useful. Okay, so that is a authentic engagement technique. So the 2026 algorithm says comments are 8 times more powerful than likes, and 10 plus word comments generate 2 times more impact. And 20 plus word comments provide 2.5 times more engagement boost. So the algorithm loves it. Latest features impacting profile optimization. So here's some tools. AI job search. So personalized job recommendations based off of your profile. I still find that it needs some work, but yes, you can go into the job function of LinkedIn and ask it to tell you what are the jobs that you're most qualified for, and it will serve up suggested jobs. You can also save job titles and search for those. It will save them, right? So you can save as many, not as many, but like a certain amount of saves of job titles, and then that will appear in your results, right? For example, um, you know, performance marketer. Say you've saved that job title. Make sure you save actual job titles that are industry standard job titles, and then once you save it, then anytime that job title comes up, it will say, hey, there's a new job that has your desired title, and it will show it to you. There's an AI career coach to help you with your gap analysis and learning path. Depending on if you buy the career version of LinkedIn, it will give you a lot of additional insights that you have to, that the non-paid account does not have. So once you're actually ready to get a job, you may want to pay for a couple of months to have the career version of LinkedIn that is, I think it's like $30 a month, something like that. Again, we'll double check the latest pricing. There are certain times a year where they have sales. Right around the holiday time, January, around the November, when there's all kinds of cyber sales, they tend to discount their paid accounts then, and they also prioritize giving you free trials. So you can actually reach out to the LinkedIn help. So you can actually contact LinkedIn help and say, hey, I'm interested in getting a paid account, but I would love a free trial. And they may set you up with that. I've done that from time to time. So you can use the LinkedIn help and have a two-way chat with the LinkedIn help profile. Profile enhancements. You can verify your identity. So you can get a blue check mark for enhanced credibility. This does not cost you any money at this point. There is documents that you have to upload, and it will verify that you are who you say you are. So that's actually worth doing. Vertical videos are being featured. So, horizontal is sort of passe. Vertical is what most social media platforms tend to like, that reel type content, REEL, reels. So that type of vertical video format is useful. One little tip that I do is I will often use Instagram or TikTok. I'll create a reel because of all of the features that you can use in Instagram or TikTok, and I will save my videos to my phone with the music, if that makes sense. And then I will upload those videos to my LinkedIn posting. So that's a little tip that can save you some time. If you want to include music, that's a cool little feature you could do. Just be careful that certain music is licensed, and when you go to download it, it may say that it's taken the music out. So you may want to focus on the Instagram music that is not. So there's native music, I guess you could say. So music that is not licensed. That music is stuff that you can download and reuse on other platforms, and it will work to have video music with your videos. But if you're using like, Katy Perry in a reel, it will allow you to do so on Instagram, but as soon as you download it, it's going to remove the music. So keep that in mind. Custom URLs enhance, so your professional link customization. So that will optimize your profile. So again, I'm going to go over how to do that. So for the priority of 2026, well, you want to have a certain level of professionalism. You don't want to AI it so much that it looks amazing, but it's actually AI, generic AI content sees 47% less reach. And also hashtag spam. So long gone are the days where you put like 20 hashtags. Now on Instagram, it only allows you to add a certain amount, 5 or so. And if you overuse hashtags, it will reduce how many people see your post. So don't do that. So here's your checklist. Okay, so this is what you're going to work on. This is your action checklist. Update your professional headshot. Again, it doesn't have to be with an expensive photo shoot. It could be with a friend that helps you, or a really well-positioned selfie using the portrait feature on your camera, your smartphone camera. So if you happen to have an Apple phone, you can use the feature headshot, or portrait, and it will create a beautiful headshot for you. Rewrite your headline using any one of the proven formulas that we discussed. Craft your about section with the SPST framework, which you can revisit in the deck later. Transform experience into achievement, optimize your skills and seek endorsements, and start a strategy to post 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. Your implementation headline, what you should focus on first. Week 1, your photo, headline, and banner. Week 2, your about section, experience and optimization. Week 3, your skills audit and endorsement strategy. Week 4, launch your content strategy and networking. And beyond that, consistent posting and engagement, both on your content and on others. All right. Think about forming a little pod. Have a bunch of people who you trust, and say, for example, your group that you work with, right? So you're going to be doing a 4-person group of people that you're going to be doing your final project with. Think about creating a little LinkedIn posting pod with them, right? Where you set up a direct messaging and say, okay, I've shared my new post, and you put the link to that post in your little DM group, and then make sure that each person take turns. They're going to go in and they're going to write a nice little message, that 20-word message that backs up that, you have posted meaningful content and now you're creating that engagement, because that will be more important than the liking of it, right? The likes do not have as much of an impact as the comments. So you got to remember that. All right. So I need to take a drink of water and refresh my coffee. So we're going to take a 10-minute break. So at 10:10, we're going to come back and we are going to go directly into LinkedIn and I'm going to show you. So now I've told you what to do. Now I'm going to show you some of it. And then we will do today's slide deck and a in-person, oh, I know we're not in person, but the actual activity that we are going to load into so make sure you have access to Moodle because we are going to be submitting an in-class assignment for today, okay? I will be opening the portal and telling you now's the time to submit your assignment towards the end of class. So 10-minute break. I will see you back at 10:10. Thanks, everyone.
I think we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks. Awesome. All right, so we're going to do the second part of the workshop now, which is I'm going to show you where to go in and do some of these suggestions that were presented in the deck that we just finished. And then we are going to do a presentation on business structures, and then you will be handing in your in-class assignment. Okay? Any questions so far? No? Okay. And again, like this is informal, so feel free to unmute and share both verbally or use the chat, although obviously I'm paying attention to the chat, but I'm also multitasking. So if you need my attention right away, it's better to unmute and say something because I'll hear you before I'll see your comment. Okay? All right. Let's get started again. All right. So I'm going to share desktop and I'm going to go here. Just going to check to make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn profile. This is a business profile. So as I mentioned to you, it has a section called services that appears that if you don't have, you won't get this option, okay? So this is, and actually it needs to be updated because it's too generic. It's too generic. So I've already started to fix up my LinkedIn profile, and the next step is that I have to fix my services page. Okay, so there's lots of different things on here, but I'm going to just sort of focus on what I said I would show you when referencing what you need to do. Okay, so first thing first is I want to show you how to get those little letters and numbers that are at the end, whoops, that are at the end of your profile. Okay. So, where you fix that is you go to your LinkedIn profile and you click on public profile and URL and you press the little pencil button. Okay. So that opens up this page and it says edit. I can't see what this says when I'm actually sharing, so I just want to double check. Yeah. Okay. So it's right. Okay. So over here, it opened up a new page and it says edit your custom URL. Okay. So if I had just what LinkedIn had gave me, it would be just a portion of my name and then a bunch of like numbers and letters. Okay. So what you want to do is use the little pencil and back that stuff out to just be your, first and last name is what I would recommend. Unfortunately, before I figured out how to do this, because I've been on LinkedIn since it started, like in 2008, it didn't have this opportunity to, or at least it wasn't obvious to me. So by the time I got around to switching it just didn't make sense to switch the names. So I would suggest that you put first name, last name, because it makes more sense. But again, this URL is out in so many different spaces that it doesn't make sense for me to switch the order of my name. So I just kept it as it is. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to go in and you're going to add your, you're going to back out all those characters that are strung on to the end of your profile address. And you're going to just put, most likely your first name and your last name. Okay. So that's step one, number one. You could also edit visibility in here. So you can go through here and show things that you want to show up and things that you don't want. Okay. I have chosen to make my profile show up here, right? So name, number of connections, number of followers, and region. So that shows up. That's the basic. You have to have this. But you could also do only show my profile photo to first degree connections. I don't recommend this only because if you're trying to connect with people and they can't figure out if you're the right person, because you may have someone who has the exact same name as you that lives in the exact same city as you, but it's not you. So the way to make sure that it is you is to be able to identify, oh, okay, that's Leigh. I recognize her photo. So that must be her, even if there's 10 other Leighs in Toronto, right? So this is where you could go in and change the settings, okay? And you can allow these things to be on, or you could turn them off, okay? Again, it's up to you. If you have a website and you want to create a badge, you can click on create badge. Oh, they're having, okay, so something's going on. So we're going to just go back. So normally this badge would work and it would show you different options and you could copy the code and then add it to a website. Okay. So anyway, so this is what my page looks like when I'm not signed in. Okay, so articles by me, activity. Oh, so there's Matthew Hunt, right? So this is, I like this post. This is Matthew Hunt, who I really like his content. So I tend to try to prioritize people's content that I like. And so here's my experience, education, volunteer experience, licenses and certifications, honors and courses, honors and awards, organizations, and my recommendations and more activity. So if you want to see what your profile looks like when you're not signed in, this is the quickest way to find it, which is click on your edit of your custom URL. Okay, so we're going to go back now. And, you're going to add in your new banner. Now, keep in mind, I have my banner is a business profile, so I get rotating banners. But for those of you who don't have a paid account for a business or Sales Navigator, which is right here, the Sales Navigator, then you would have just the basic one banner, okay? So this is where you go in and edit your profile. I have chosen, and I don't know, I'll be completely frank with you, I have no idea if this is bad or good in terms of the algorithm, but I want people to know right away what I do. So my niche for my personal brand, I mean, I'm other things, but my niche is specific to being a trainer for women in business. Okay. I'm doing this because I know that the 2026 algorithm likes to see very obviously what you do and who you serve. Okay, your niche. I have added how to say my name. So a lot of people mispronounce my name. So I've added this how to say it. So I went in and I said Leigh Mitchell and recorded it. So if I click on this, it would say how to say my name. And I have verified, I've uploaded my license and I've verified my account. So that's what this little verification signal is. Okay. All very good for algorithm. I have put in my headline here, right? So if I want to change any of this, I click the pencil icon and then I can go in and change it. I can add resources, view my services. All this stuff can be edited. Open to work. I can edit this and it's suggested for me. So it's suggesting that I add some case studies to showcase my skills. So that's probably on my profile timeline of things that I need to do. I should probably add this in. So you don't see this, but I see that it's saying, hey, you could add this, add a project, showcase your skills. So I should do that. So that's on my list of things to do, along with updating my services. All right, analytics. So good to go in and check your analytics. So think of it as a baseline, right? Where am I at and where do I want to go? So set some goals for yourself. Do I want to show up in 500 search appearances? Like I could create goals for myself and then say, okay, I could use an AI tool and take a screenshot of all of my analytics, right? So the past 7 days, I'm down 42%. So I gotta ramp up my game here this week. I'm back. last week was a crazy week. I wasn't feeling well. I had a lot going on, so I wasn't as active on LinkedIn. Profile views, search appearances, newsletter subscribers. I'm down 50%. Newsletter article views, I'm up a lot. And that's because I actually missed a couple of weeks with my newsletter, and I'm back to getting it on a regular process of submitting my newsletter. And so my views are up. Weekly sharing tracker. So, it's giving me suggested actions that I haven't taken so far. 0 comments. Members who comment once per week on average see up to three times the profile views. Members who post once per week on average see 4 times more profile views. So it's giving me some ideas. Here's where I can see whether or not I have a creator account. So here are your creator tools. So I have LinkedIn Live. I set this up. I made sure, so that's a creator tool that you have access to if you wanted to go live on streaming tools. I use a streaming tool called, what's it called again? Stream something. Hold on. I'm just gonna. Streamlabs. It's actually a fairly affordable tool compared to some of the other streaming platforms. So Streamlabs is what I use. I have a LinkedIn newsletter. So if you're looking to get personal branding advice, whether you're male, female, doesn't matter. I will be serving up helpful tips to help you grow your personal brand and to help you through transitions. That's kind of my niche. And I have a follow link. Okay. So those are my creator tools. So you can double check your profile by going into your analytics and looking at whether you have these creator tools or not. So feel free to follow along and open up your profile as I'm doing mine. You could also use your phone if that's easier. You could use your phone and see how your profile and all the things you need to do show up on your phone, right? So for example, when I click on my phone and and I don't know how well you're going to see this, but here's my profile on my phone. You can see that nothing is cut off, right? Because that headshot is huge. It takes up a lot of space on your banner. So you want to make sure that it's not cutting off the words on your banner, right? And as a marketer, I hold you to a higher standard. You should know that, right? You don't want your profile to show bad marketing practices because you want to be able to read what's on your profile. I have a portfolio. I would recommend you all setting up a profile. In the last course that we take together, I'm going to show you how exactly step by step how to make a portfolio. But for now, you can check out my portfolio. It is under services, and I use a platform called Notion to build my portfolio. Okay. This is my newsletter. So just a shout out to subscribe to my newsletter. It is not gender specific. So I think that you'll find it useful. This is actually really a great link to check out. So I've tagged, or I've pinned it to my featured section. So you can do the same thing and with content that's important to you. And this tells you what are the 15 fastest growing jobs on LinkedIn for 2026. So you can check out my article on this. And then, so there's a couple of other things on here. And one on my latest podcast. Actually, I need to update this because I have the podcast from last week with Dr. Jim. If everyone who was at class on Monday remembers Dr. Jim, That's my latest podcast on the ChangeMaker Leader podcast. So I got to update my links. My activity. So if you want to know where to find someone's activity, this is where you find it. So it tells you how many followers you have. It shows you how many posts that you have, comments, videos, images, your newsletter, your events, and your documents. So this is where you can find all this stuff. Okay. And then your experience. So under the About section, so if you recall, there was a list of things to do. Week 1, get that profile picture updated. If you like your profile picture, then you can leave it. Just make sure that you don't look hugely different. And like meaning like if you've shaved all your hair off, but the picture that's on your profile, you have a full head of hair, then update your photo. Make sure that you work on your banner, right? Then week 2, fix up your About section. Okay, so this is my About section. You'll notice that I'm following the optimized version of just, a short amount of text, followed by a subtitle, followed by, bullets, right? So these are the types of things that you should be adding to your About section, like at least in terms of the design, right? So not mounds and mounds of text. Keep it short. Make sure that you focus on, what you do, who you do it for, and some specific things that stand out. Now, I should probably add some numbers-driven accomplishments. I don't have that. I should add that in there. So, we're all a work in progress. Our profiles are probably not going to be perfect ever. So just keep on working on it. Okay. So that's your About section. So that's the next thing that you should be optimizing. Make sure you look at your analytics. Your analytics will show you what type of account you have. Is it a creator account? It will give you a benchmark to think about how you could improve. You can take all these analytics and feed it to ChatGPT or whatever platform you like and say, act as a LinkedIn advisor and give me a weekly list of things that I could do to improve my analytics, right? That's just an example of something that you could do. Because we're studying analytics in the final course, I actually do a whole little breakdown on exactly how to run analytic reports on AI and to give you suggested tips of things that you could do to enhance your content to increase your numbers. Okay. Next is my services area. We talked about that. I need to update that. I have some reviews here. And you can repost these reviews. It gives you the prompt of reshare this. And so I've reshared people that have taken the time to review my page. You have to, in this area, it's a little annoying. You actually have to specifically ask someone and send them a request to review this. You can't just go. I can't just say, hey, go and review my page. I actually have to send you a request to review my page. But for this part down here, sorry, where is it? These recommendations, anyone can go in and give anybody a recommendation and receive one. You don't have to specifically ask someone to do it. Someone could go and just do it. So how do you do that? You're probably asking yourself. Okay, so what you would do is go to the person's profile that you want to give the review to. So let's just say you want to give me a review, and you don't have to do this, but let's just say you wanted to give me a review for um, this LinkedIn workshop, right? You could then just go to my profile, and there is a section where you can actually, it's be easier if I showed you on someone else's profile because I'm having a hard time explaining this. Okay, so let's go to Matthew's. Oops. Okay, so here's Matthew's profile. I have to actually click on his profile. And you'll notice that I like his content. So I've taken the bell and I have said, I want to see all of his content because it's that helpful to me. Now I can, under more, so that's where it is. Okay, so under more, I can request a recommendation to him. So please don't send me a request for recommendation right now because I tend not to do that for students only because it opens up a can of worms of everybody wanting a recommendation, and I just don't have the bandwidth. And who do I choose to recommend? Like it's too difficult. It's a bit of a challenge for me because one thing I will do is once you graduate and you have done fairly well in my class, if you need a letter written to get into a program or you need me to be a reference for a job, I do that if I have the bandwidth. So that is something that I do and I have done. Okay, so I can request a recommendation from Matthew or I can recommend him. So if I click on recommend, I click on how I know him. So I fill that part out. And then the position at the time. So this is all his positions. So I would recommend him here. I would select, let's see what it says. Not a client. You taught, you mentored, you studied together. I don't know. This doesn't really give me the right example, but I don't think it really matters all that much. So I could just pick, you worked with Matthew in the same group, right? So I could click that. And then I could type in my recommendation to him. So, you could write it yourself. You could I could say Matthew is my go-to resource for all things LinkedIn. On a personal note, Matthew is, very responsive. Whatever I want to say about him, not too long, right? Because no one's going to read a really long recommendation. So tight, right? Some recommendations tight. What's the benefit of doing this? Matthew's going to appreciate it. Be careful. Don't just assume that if you give someone a recommendation that it's a tit for tat, then that person is automatically going to give you a recommendation. Don't approach it that way. Approach it that you genuinely just want to recognize Matthew's talents, or whoever's talents you want, and recommend them. Don't always be looking to get something in return. All right, so I'm going to discard this because I don't have time to do this right now, but that's how I do it. So you go to the person's profile that you want to recommend, click on more, and then recommend. But if you want to ask someone to, so let's say, and do this properly, reach out in advance to someone and say, this is a great example of what you could do if you have you have volunteered for an organization and you want the specific leader that you volunteered to recognize what you did for them. So after that that they're happy with the work that you did for them and they have a good outcome, what I would do is I would send a message to that person by email and say, it was a pleasure, supporting your event. you know, Thank you for the opportunity. I got so much out of it. Here's what I was able to accomplish for you, and list some measurable results from the volunteer work that you did for that person. Would you consider giving me a LinkedIn recommendation? And then wait for them to respond back. And they may say to you, yeah, I would be more than happy to write you a recommendation. What would you like me to focus the recommendation to be on? This is where you can get very specific to say, I need you to recommend me specifically for my key skill of social media management, right? Because maybe your volunteer support was representing them at a event where you were live sharing photos and content of that person's event. And, or maybe, I don't know, whatever it is that you did for them, right? Be specific, right? Pick the thing, those top 5 skills, ask them to recommend you based off of your top 5 skills. So, choose those skills, right? So under skills, where is it? Sorry, give me a second here. Here we go. So here's our skills. So make sure that your top skills are listed at the top, okay? So for me, marketing communication, digital marketing, these are recommendations for that. Sorry, I'm just trying to see all skills. So I've added the maximum number of skills. So you're going to want to go in there and add all of the skills, and make sure that you choose the things that you want to be endorsed for to be at the top. And then when that person writes the recommendation, ask them to specifically mention marketing communications or digital marketing, whatever it is in that recommendation. Okay. So that's a little bit on how to use the feature recommend, and also get a testimonial yourself. So those are how you do it. Okay. Under the you're going to be doing different certifications. So when you do a certification, make sure you add it to your LinkedIn profile. Here's an example. I have my Google Analytics certification. You're going to be in our last course. So at the end of the program, you and I are going to be working together again, and you're going to do your LinkedIn Analytics certification. It will give you a credential number, and it will tell you how to add this to your LinkedIn profile. Okay. So I have 27 licenses and certifications. And so, you just add them as you go. Okay. So that's how you do that. Okay. Type of content to post. So where you add a post is you just click the little blue button, and it will take you to the feed, right? So this is the algorithm. This is the feed. This is what's showing up in my feed, right? So usually it's people that I've interacted with a lot, or I've hit that bell and I want them to show up so I see their stuff more often. It could be things that show up, could be a sponsored campaign. So this might be a sponsored campaign. It looks like it might be, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't tell from looking at this. Usually it says sponsored. And things like these types of features are really popular. So when you think about the types of content you can share, you could do something like a poll. This is Pranav. He graduated from this program that you're in right now over 5 years ago. And he now has his full-time job. I gave him a reference. He is now full-time employed and well on his way to becoming a Canadian citizen. So he's in really good shape. So that's Pranav. So I tend to see people's content that I interact with a lot. So what types of posts can I create? So I can hit start post and now it's giving me different options. I can click on the more button and I can celebrate an occasion. I can share that I'm hiring. I can create a poll. I can add a document. So these are those carousels that I was telling you about. So if I click add document, I choose the file and then I want to find a PDF. So I'll just give you a quick example. So here's a PDF and it is going to create this into a clickable document that will allow me to scroll. Okay, so that is a carousel post. These perform really well. Video, though, is still king. You know, do understand the importance of video. Okay. So anyway, you get the point. This is a carousel post. You could do a poll. So you could say, you know, were you stuck in the snow today? And then options. And you can add options. And then you can choose to make the poll 1 week, 2 weeks, etc. Okay, so that's that. You could create an event. So you can go here and this will be associated with your profile. I'm going to be getting back into doing a lot of events this year. I'm just gearing myself up for it. And then I can fill all this out, the banner, right? So you can see the size it recommends. And if this doesn't make sense to you, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. I do know the maximum width is 480 pixels, so it has to be that size minimum. And it is recommending 16 by 9 sizing. I don't really understand exactly. It's just like how it shows up in the box. But ideally, you want to know the pixels, the width, and the length. And so these tend to do really like they're very much like a Facebook post size. Just to give you an example. I just want to show you something really quickly here. So when we go to my profile and you click on the banner, I can replace with cover image or I can edit my slideshow. If I had a regular profile, I believe it tells you what the dimensions are, the width and the length. So, but you can just Google 2026 LinkedIn profile banner, and it will tell you exactly the dimensions so that you can then design them so that they appear properly. And like I said before, be careful not to add anything in this left side of your profile. All right, so let's go back to posting for just 1 second, and we're going to wrap this up. All right, so to go to posting, you click on the little blue icon and you hit start post, and then you choose the type of post, right? If I want to add to my newsletter, I hit write article. Okay, I have a content creator account. I have a LinkedIn newsletter. This is where I go. I click on this, and then it says here, do you want to post this, publish as me, right? Where I just want to have a blog, or do I want to post this like my newsletter? And so, here's a individual article. I could also post it as any of these other versions of myself. These are all based off of my LinkedIn company pages that I own. Okay, so I have company pages, and so these are all the different features. Okay, I'm not going to get into too much with this, but building a LinkedIn newsletter is a great way to start growing your connections and getting known for something. So try practicing content writing by creating a LinkedIn newsletter. Okay, so you can write an article. You can add a photo, right? And choose the photo there. So I'm just going to say cancel. And you can add a video. It is wanting more and more short form content that is in portrait format, not landscape, right? So like a reel. Okay. As I said, my tip was to create a video on Instagram and then save and download your video and then upload it here. So, that's if you want to, use some of the fancy formatting that some of these tools come with, like Instagram and TikTok. That's a great way to make a professional looking video quickly. And the tip is just to download it. And you can do that on TikTok and Instagram, and you can download your videos from YouTube as well. So that's just a suggestion, because LinkedIn still prioritizes videos. Okay. Why do they do that? Because you're going to, if it's native video, so not a LinkedIn, not a YouTube link, but a native video that is uploaded natively, it prioritizes that in the algorithm. So video is still king. All right. So that's a quick overview on some of the things that I want you to fix up on your profile. So number one is get that address sorted out properly so that your LinkedIn profile doesn't have those numbers here at the end, right? How you do that is you click on the pencil, you go to the public profile page that shows you how your profile appears to others. And you can edit it, and then you can also fix some of the features, the settings, I should say, there as well. Okay, so that's my little LinkedIn workshop. Okay, so I am going to do a quick, actually, you know what? I think we're just going to stick to LinkedIn as being our lesson for today. And on Wednesday, we will catch up with the next lesson. But I'm going to just quickly go over what we will be covering in depth for Wednesday. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to stop the recording.